Is this AGI? Claude Fable 5 is here, and its top builds are insane. But behind all the hype, there's a serious catch that's shocking regular users. So today on AI News, we're breaking down its raw stats, its next-gen capabilities, and whether it's really worth the premium. So first, let's start with this full-fledged humanoid robot design from Jake Fitzgerald on X. And he said that it took Fable 5 2 hours and 1.4 million tokens to get this output. But what we see here so far looks like a pretty complete robot, and in just a moment I'm going to show you this robot moving, which Fable 5 was also able to do. And it even shows the exploded view of all of the different components that Fable 5 was able to make here. So here is the robot actually moving. This is an animation from Fable 5. And just in terms of some stats here, Anthropic's brand new Fable 5 is actually based on the new Mythos class architecture, which introduces 1 million tokens to the context window by default, and it pairs it with a massive 128,000 token output limit per request so that it can do multi-day long AI executions. Next, we have Adam from X, who demonstrated Fable 5 creating working assemblies for a robot arm. You can see here that it's doing all the trajectories, and then it shows this entire animation of the robot carrying out a picking task. But Fable 5 isn't just limited to CAD simulations, as Stash on X showed an actual PX4 flight computer and swarm controller, as well as GPS odometry and Mavlink telemetry, all being controlled by Fable 5. So if Fable 5 can power a drone, it could probably also power a full-on humanoid robot. On top of that, Fable 5 can also complete 3D printable models, and this was done in a browser-based CAD editor. Meanwhile, it can also handle Three.js, as Hoy from X demonstrated an entire watch assembly. And when it comes to this new Fable 5, unlike previous models, Anthropic has now stripped out its zero data retention policy. So before, Anthropic promised that they wouldn't store your sensitive code or chats at all, but with Fable 5, they're actually keeping it for 30 days, every single thing that you type. So now, both Fable 5 and the upcoming Mythos 5 will require this 30-day data retention policy for all traffic in order to monitor for misuse patterns. But what about using Three.js to create games? This is what Dan Greenheck from X demonstrated. He actually just typed in a single liner, create a Crysis-like game, and you can see here that it's actually handling the physics, and the water looks all right. And this was completely procedurally done with one shot. Look at the way that those bricks just fall over. And to up the ante, Matt Schumer on X actually created his own world, which looks much more realistic in this case. This is all custom-built Three.js running in the browser. And when users said that the first demo was too slow, he actually fed it back into Fable 5, saying make it faster without losing quality, and in one shot, this is what it came up with. Then another user one-shotted his own Call of Duty first-person shooter. But something to know here is that there's a built-in stealth downgrade where if you try to prompt Fable 5 to do cybersecurity, chemical synthesis, or advanced biology, it triggers a hidden classifier, and it doesn't give you an error or a warning, but instead it just silently downgrades your chat session to use Opus 4.8 instead to handle the response. Next, another X user, Praisen Jit, created a car game, and just to note, there's also a built-in anti-competitor nerf that Fable 5 uses where it actively sandbags any prompts that are trying to distill or build competing frontier LLM infrastructures. So, for instance, if you tell it to analyze your own logic patterns and write the code to build something smarter, it'll silently hand it down to Opus 4.8 to fulfill the request. Plus, on top of building games, it also plays games. Here it is playing Factorio, and it's able to plan, debug, and take care of the long horizon strategy. It's all completely autonomous. But what's even more impressive is the rigging of a 3D model. So Fable 5 also handles animations, and this was all done just by passing over the GLB over to Fable 5. Plus, it even built a simulator on a real fluid dynamics, which is one of the final frontiers because this is real fluid dynamics, real vortices, and real pressure gradients, all built into one at 60 FPS with one prompt and one file. And in terms of its benchmarks, it destroys the SWE Bench Pro, where it achieves an 80.3%, which completely outpaces Opus 4.8 at 69.2%, and it leaves OpenAI's GPT 5.5 way behind at 58.6%. But how about side-by-side visuals between GPT-5 and Fable 5? This is with Minecraft. And tell us in the comments down below which you think looks more impressive. It seems like there's much more detail in Fable 5 in terms of these structures. Then we have another comparison of Gemini 3.5 Pro building cities. You can see here, we just see the buildings, not so much on the ground. Then we look at GPT 5.5, which looks a little bit better, but again, doesn't really seem to capture the detail on the ground, just the buildings. And then this third video comparison here, this is Fable 5, and you can actually notice here when it zooms in all of the traffic down on the ground, as well as some other details that weren't quite captured on the other models. But one of the downsides here is that users are reporting that Fable 5 burns straight through the token budget. And this is because in terms of API pricing, Fable 5 sits at $10 per million input tokens and $50 per million output tokens, which is roughly double the cost of Opus 4.8, although much better quality in terms of output. But tell us down below if you think that this is worth it. This user here actually noticed that in one prompt, their entire budget was spent. But the silver lining here is that currently, if you use Claude Web Interface, Fable 5 is included for free in Pro, Max, and Team tiers right now. But on June 23rd, Anthropic is forcing all users onto a usage-based consumption credit system. Anyways, like and subscribe, and check out this video here for more of the latest in AI and robotics news. And thanks for watching.